there's no sign of them.
Of who? Raven joined the party. Again, a lot of characters that I would like to use just simply are not usable with this many skills. Like, Raven realistically doesn't become usable in my opinion until, I don't know, like level 40 plus range, and we're not getting there anytime soon.
I know we haven't been gone for...
Pretty sure it's just, let's take a rest at the inn, because that's what fucking happens all the time. This is also part of the Briannic side quest. Talk to them. Judith destroys another Blastia. Move on. Profit. After getting the ship, so... Do we rest first? Or I forget. They make you rest a lot in these games. Only because, you know, oh, we ran away from all those people. We're tired. We need to rest to develop our characters some more. At least this shit is kind of like almost forced in a way. Because all the character development this game has, Tales of Vesperia didn't have. And you only got that shit by, you know, willfully resting at an inn. And, you know, I don't rest at inns a lot in these games because, I don't know, I just don't, for whatever reason. Like, either I have cooking, so I don't need to stop and pay the, exorbitant amount of cash required. Or I use items, or I use mats and tents and shit. So it's like, oh, I don't really ever feel myself, you know, needing to rest at an inn. But all of that game's character development was during in-resting scenes in the skits. So, that was on the, too far on the spectrum, because then I wasn't attached to any of those characters at all, when I really should have been, and they weren't really relatable. Like, Vesperia has its problems in that regard, where it's like, the rock, paper, scissor battle system of that game is too strict. It is really brutal and very punishing if you want to try playing that game on higher difficulties. Like, you need to take the time to grind out all of the weapons. Or not even the weapons. Like, yes, weapon grinding is important, but also weapon synthesis is important in that game. You need to synthesize weapons with the right skills on them, so you have to actually, you have to collect all the Norman, and then you have to farm said Norman in the area that drops the weapon that you want to farm. You have to farm there, hoping that the weapon drops with the skills you need. Then you can synthesize the weapons up to 10 times. Then you get it sanctified and turned into an even better weapon. Like, there is a lot of grinding in that game. A lot of it compared to this one. And the benefits realistically are only so that you can play it on the higher difficulties. If you never ever want to challenge yourself by doing that. Did we pass Raven? Oh no, he's over on the docks or whatever. He's at the harbor. So, well, this whole thing is a harbor. I guess he's at the docks is what you would call it. It's rough, man. It's rough. Like, that game, if you really want to challenge yourself, it takes a lot of time.
I can't believe it.
And, like, the story is satisfying at the end of that one, but it's just, like, the characters, like, what is his name? Sore. He's unrelatable, because, like, he's been living in this village full of ghosts for the past 20 years, and he meets this attractive princess girl, and he never once tries to date her or ask her out or anything. And it's like, I'm just a hero. I'm a good, chivalrous guy who wouldn't even think of doing such things with a lady. And it's like, even if he were gay, at least that would give him some sort of emotion and connection to be with somebody. But he's just asexual, and it's boring, and you don't relate to the character, because it's like, well, why aren't you interested in the princess, or I can't even think of her name right now, it's been so long since I played through that game. But it's like...
What should we do about...
Oh, I could never, be in love with this person. There's another really attractive girl character who has not much of an arc, if I'm being perfectly honest. Her arc is muddled. A lot of that game's story is muddled, in my opinion. But her name is Rose. Or Rose in Japanese.
The two...
Rose is, another girl character who is, like, works alongside Sorei, and there's no reason why their adventuring together shouldn't have blossomed into some sort of romantic relationship. It didn't. And that's what was missing from that. There are people who can take up the argument of like, oh, well, we don't need a romance shoehorned in. It's not shoehorned when you spend a lot of time with somebody and you're physically attracted to them. It's not. That's a very natural human thing that happens naturally. It's not shoehorned. But it's like... that was the missing human element to that game. And it's like, we're supposed to care that their grandpa gets murdered or absorbed by the Fist of the Beast King, whatever the fuck his name is, the King of Red Lions.
Well, if it isn't Mr.
He's one of those
Yuri
things.
Lowell, you've come at just the right time.
What is he? The King of Chaos? The Demon King? He's many of these generic names he is. Lord of Chaos, Lord of Hell, Lord of Demons, Lord of Calamity. Lord of Calamity. He was all these things. Lord of Calamity, Lord of Chaos, Lord of Demons, whatever the fuck. He had an interesting story arc. His arc was legit interesting. It's the craziest thing is that Heldolf was the most interesting character in that game to have a legit story arc. But he was the main villain. And so it's like, well, I'm supposed to, you know, you're asking me to sympathize more with the guy who we've been told is supremely evil and is the result, is the cause for all of this world's pain and suffering. And yet he's the most likable, in my opinion, because he was the most human character. And so, like, purely for that game's villain, I would recommend Tales of Zestiria. But the learning curve for that game is extremely high. Like, if you are looking to challenge yourself and shit like that, it is really high. And it requires lots of grinding of weapons with specific skills. Synthesis, which requires money. One of these days, I want, just to say that I could accomplish that, I accomplished that. I want to beat the game on Chaos or whatever the highest difficulty is. I forget what it was called. Let me see. After getting the ship, we're supposed to rest at Capo Nor. And there's a lot of shit for us to do now that we have the ship. But apparently there's
we just started out and we're all...
whatever. That's this kid just talking about how Carol's worried about working with Fortune's market, because what if they fail, blah blah blah. As you'll come to find out, Carol is very neurotic. Not erotic, but neurotic. Let's go, 1, 2, bam! Oh, I guess it's him dreaming that he stood up to Gusios. Captain Carol, you rock. Carol, you drove away that monster all by yourself. You're amazing. No wonder they say you'll be the next Dawn in 10 years. Wow. I'm impressed, Carol. I'm no match for you. No, don't be so modest. I wouldn't have been able to do it without all of your support. Thank you, everyone. I couldn't have done it without you. Carol. Carol, brother. Please come back to the Hunting Blades. Carol, brother, no one else can take the chief's place but you. The Hunting Blades needs you. Really? What should I do? I already left the guild once. Carol, you're going to betray us? Yeah, didn't you promise to start a guild with us? Did I? Carol, please. Carol, brother. Carol. I don't know. It is a little pathetic. But at the same time, he's like 12. Like, you know, I'm not going to bully a 12-year-old for dreaming that he's, like, the best ever. Ah. Was it a dream? What a nice dream. We could all be having nice dreams if you'd be quiet. Like shit like this that isn't voice acted, I'll take the time to read and stuff. But if it's me watching a movie, like, I don't know. I'm not interested in you watching me watch something unless, I don't know, there are fucking Twitch channels that do that shit all the time, but I have no interest in doing that. I have no interest in watching other people's content and then having you see what I think of it. Like, I'd rather me be doing something that I'm enjoying doing like this and then just talking about it. Okay, so we did that in Copwood Nor. Okay, so at the north of Halure or west of Ospio, you can find the Traveler's Inn. Talk to Rich if you have beaten Green Menace. Did we actually beat him? I don't remember if we went back to fight him. Well, it's a little late now. We can't get to Cave Mock, but it's whatever.